Hey, today I've got some blues to-dos for you. So my goal with this video is to help you expand your options with the things you already know. So most people are familiar with the pentatonic scale. In this case, I'm going to do an A minor pentatonic. The notes are A, C, D, E, and G. Sounds like this. So what we're going to be talking about is blues progressions. So most blues progressions, at least the major ones, we have dominant chord shapes. So dominant chords have a major third. Now, interestingly enough, this minor pentatonic scale does not have that note. Kind of strange. So to get a little bit more mileage out of your minor pentatonic scale, to start, you can move it 3 frets down from your key center. So if we're playing a blues in A, instead of starting with our first finger here on the 5th fret, we're going to back it up 1, 2, 3 frets, and now starting that scale from the pinky is going to give us a result that includes the major third. So let me give you an example of how I might play a lick to emphasize that major third. And the other note we get there is the 6th, which we didn't get previously with this shape up here. So here's what both of those sound like. Kind of nice to include those once in a while. Do you have to do it? No. You can get an awful lot of mileage out of your minor pentatonic scale, and that sounds pretty good. You know, and that's really good for blues, rock, and country. Again, your mileage will vary on that stuff. If you want to include the third, it just gives a slightly stronger pull from chord to chord. So speaking of the next chord, the 4 chord in the sequence. In this case is a D7. I'm playing a D9 voicing here. One of the things I want to present to you is the option of getting rid of the G in your A minor pentatonic scale and swapping that out for an F sharp. Now, why the heck would you want to do that? Just to complicate matters. The explanation lies in the chord structure. So in this chord, we have a D, an F sharp, an A, and a C as a 7th chord. If we add the 9th into the picture, we get an E. That G is the 4th of D. Is that a pleasant sound? I don't know. I'll leave that up to you. But if we include the F sharp, now we've got a lot of good tones to play over that D7. So for example, really in the pocket kind of a sound. So let's zoom in here. Let's take a look at what I'm doing with my pentatonic scale. So I'm going to go from the top or the highest note to the lowest note. So the notes I'm swapping out, I'm getting rid of that G and going instead for an F sharp. So since we're talking about blues today, we absolutely have to touch on the blue note. The blue note in this case, since we're in A, is an E flat. So where that's going to show up for us is going to be on the 5th string and the 3rd string. So we're just going to add that to the scale. It's going to look like this. So that already gives us a much more bluesy sound. Just playing up the scale almost sounds like a song in itself. It's got a very cool attitude, good vibe to it. And I should say that the most important thing that you need to be thinking about when playing the blues is emphasis, your feel. It's not a technical style, you know, so it's really got to come from your feel, your emphasis on the notes. I think vibrato is huge. How you're hitting these things, even if you're hitting a wrong note, your attitude can go an awful long way in making it sound musical. Now, let's talk about some licks. Here's one that's going to include the flat 5th and the major 3rd. Here's another one that includes the major third and the flatted fifth. Take a closer look. All right, here's a quick little recap of your blues to-dos. We started out with the idea of just moving our minor pentatonic down 3 frets to give us access to the major third and the 6th. Very good notes to add over dominant chords. Another thing that we did was to introduce the blue note. So again, in A, we're going to find that blue note on the 5th string and on the 3rd string. Now over your 4 chord, I'm suggesting that you add a note or swap out a note so that we end up getting that third of the 4 chords. So what that looks like is on your 2nd string, you're changing out your 8th fret here for the 7th fret. So I'll play the whole scale swapping that G for an F sharp. I think that sounds pretty sweet for a 4 chord. And I just want to recap, if we add all those suggestions in, so we create this gigantic hybrid scale, we would have the minor third, the major third, the flatted 5th, the normal 5th, all that good stuff, and it will look like this. Whew. All right, hopefully that inspires you. Hopefully that takes your playing in a new direction. You find it useful. I'm very curious to see how this goes for you. So please, in the comments below, let me know what you think of all this stuff. Hope you get some good stuff out of it, and I will see you next time around.